kid you not, I'd just seen something black go right across that window.
I'm wondering if there is an old vicar that used to preach here called Thomas Cobbenberry.
Now earlier on...
So, if either you or Thomas are here, again, please come and join me.
Who was that?
Relating to your family, with your family crest. And sadly...
Jeff, behind you!
Where did that come from?
Right by Mark, I think.
Pew behind me.
I could hear talking.
Yes, sir, yes,
Evan Poison. Manufactured record.
yes, sir.
Go.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Here we go.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Here we go.
It's like a light is in my face, but I can't fall for you. I close my eyes and drift away. I've overdosed on you. Cause then you wake up dead one day.
The Church of England parish church of St Mary the Virgin is built on top of a barrow and is a local landmark. In 1975, the parish merged with that of Eaton Bray. St Mary's was made redundant, and since then it has been vested in the church's conservation trust. The earliest parts of the church date from 1283, but the church dates back to the 11th century or maybe further. Gilbert of Ghent gave the church to the monks of Bardney Abbey in 1115. A chantry was added in 1338 and the tower in 1340. The closeness of these construction dates indicates how rich Edlesborough Parish Church was at the time. Much of the church was altered in the 15th century, including the chantry, which has given the church a very 15th century character. Thomas Cobbenberry appears as the vicar of Edlesborough in 1413, but for some unknown reason he does not appear on the list of rectors or vicars displayed inside the church. On Friday the 21st of March 1828, between 3 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, there was a storm of hail and the tower was struck by lightning, setting it on fire. The lead on the roof melted and the molten lead set fire to everything it touched. The local villagers fought the fire, which burnt for 12 hours until it was finally extinguished. Inside, it is a treasure house of delights including medieval woodwork, amazing Victorian wall paintings and stained glass, a slender pulpit with superb carvings, and choir desks and stools. There is also a collection of carved wooden mercy seats. These little ledges were for people to rest on during long prayers and are decorated with fantastical carved creatures, a stern-faced mermaid suckling a lion and a two-headed beast with ferocious claws. There are several medieval brasses in the chancel, including one to Sir John Swinescheid, a rector in the Edlesborough community, which have now been removed or stolen. Sir John, died in 1390. In the north transept is the Rufford family chapel, but this no longer exists. There are still memorials to the members of the Rufford family. Again, the brasses dedicated to the family are no longer in place. John Rufford Esquire owned Butler's Manor, and they were a wealthy family in the area at the time. Bardney Abbey in Lincolnshire, England was a Benedictine monastery founded in 697 by the King of Mercia. The monastery was supposedly destroyed during a Danish raid in 869. In 1087, the site was refounded as a priory by Gilbert de Gant, Earl of Lincoln, and it regained status as an abbey in 1115. In 1537, 6 of the Bardney Abbey monks were executed for their role in the Lincolnshire Rising, also known as the Pilgrimage of Grace. By 1538, the abbey was disbanded and its property seized during the dissolution of the monasteries campaign started by Henry VIII. The property was then granted to Sir Robert Tyrwhitt. Tyrwhitt regained the abbot's lodging as a house. In later years, the lodging and gardens became ruins, along with the remainder of the former abbey. Excavations from 1909 through to 1914 revealed the layout of Bardney Abbey. This can still be seen, though nothing remains to any height. Further excavations and conservation took place in 2009 to 2011. Some grave slabs and carved stones were preserved in Bardney Parish Church, which is dedicated to St Lawrence. Since St Mary's Church has been open to the public, phantom monks have been seen on many occasions near to the parish church and inside. One monk vanished when a visitor shone a torch onto the figure. We managed to obtain a photograph taken by a visitor inside the church, which shows a dark figure resembling a monk. And, whilst we were taking our own pictures before we were setting up for the evening, we also capture a shadow figure which is standing in the doorway of the Rufford Chapel. The ghost of Thomas Cobbenbury, a former vicar, has been witnessed wandering the church. And many have witnessed the apparition of a man that's seen inside the church who is believed to be Sir John Rufford Esquire. As we are just about to set up our equipment, I hear a woman's voice saying, "Who are you?" We all stand still, and the voice is heard again, asking, "Who are you?" After several hours, we finally have our static cams in place, and we are ready to commence the investigation. So here we are at St Mary's Church in Edlesborough. Now this church dates back hundreds and hundreds of years. In fact, records go back to the 1100s, but they don't know when this was actually built. It's never been investigated before. We've come here because there are reports of monks. People see apparition of monks here. One gentleman actually even saw one of the monks and shone a torch onto it, and it disappeared as the light hit it. There is one of the vicars that used to work here. He's seen here quite frequently. And also, over there in the corner used to be a chapel to the Rufford family. And I kid you not, I'd just seen something black go right across that window.
I don't like it down there for some reason.
Okay, so as I was saying, one of the vicars is seen here frequently. And also, in that corner used to be a chapel, belonged to the Rufford family. And John Rufford Esquire is said to wander this church. So as it's not been investigated before, I would like to speak to whoever's here, and I believe there's many of you. And you're probably wondering what we're doing here. And we've come here today to speak to you, to find out more about yourselves and also about this church. Now, all the equipment that you see here and all the equipment that we're going to use this evening is to help us contact you and for you to speak to us and to let us know that you can hear us and that you are here. Now, earlier on, I heard a woman speak. And then it was probably a few moments after that, I heard the same voice of a woman, and Mark even heard the voice as well. So first of all, the woman's voice that I heard earlier was in the same area, which is where I'm standing. Now, on the floor are graves to various families. So if you can hear me, can you speak to me, please? Speak into this device. Can you tell me your name, please? Now, just a few minutes ago, I saw something go past that window. Who was that? I saw something go past that window. Who was that? I saw something go past that window. Who was that? we make our way over to what once was the Rufford family chapel. The spirit of Sir John Rufford has been seen inside the church, and it is the same area where earlier in the day we captured a shadow figure on one of our photographs.
I'm sat outside the North Chapel, which was owned or used by the Rufford family. Now, we don't know a lot about that particular family, but they must have been of significant importance to have their own chapel. Now, one thing I do know is that one of the members of the family was Sir John Rufford. Now, I'd like to speak to you, Sir John. So, if you can hear my voice, please come and join me and tell me a little bit about your family and your worship here. Sir John, can you hear me? And my name is Philip, and I know that you obviously had children. I believe one of your children was Thomas. So, if either you or Thomas are here, again, please come and join me. Were you a landowner here? Why did you have your own chapel? Are you buried here, inside this church?
A faint voice is picked up on Phil's digital recorder saying, "I'm not talking to you." Is this the voice of Sir John Rufford? Here is the audio, the best that we can enhance it.
Are you buried here, inside this church? One thing which I've spotted is that on the floor in front of me, there would have been a number of brasses relating to your family with your family crest. And sadly, they're not there anymore. There's references to you, which is why I know that they, are about your family. Are you cross that they're no longer here?
Within seconds, Phil receives another EVP, a voice saying, "Turn around." Here is the enhanced audio.
Relating to your family with your family crest. And sadly, they're not there anymore. There's references to you, which is why I know that they, are about your family. relating to your family with your family crest. And sadly, they're not there anymore. There's references to you, which is why I know that they, are about your family. Did you work mainly here, or did you work in London? Let me know that you can hear my voice. You can do that by banging on something. There was movement from inside there.
I heard that too, Phil.
Thank you. Could you do that again, please?
Phil hears movement coming from inside what was once the Rufford family chapel, but on reviewing the audio it sounds more like a deep voice, as if someone is trying to speak.
Let me know that you can hear my voice. You can do that by banging on something. There was movement from inside there.
I heard that too, Phil.
Thank you. Could you do that again, please? Let me know that you can hear my voice. You can do that by banging on something. There was movement from inside there.
I heard that too, Phil.
Thank you. Could you do that again, please?
Can I start off by introducing myself? My name's Mark, and I must say this is a very beautiful church. It's still lovely and maintained, even though it hasn't been used for 45 years for a service. I'm wondering if there is an old vicar that used to preach here called Thomas Cobbenberry. He was here in 1413. Do you still come here to preach to your congregation years after you have passed on? We have noticed that your name, Thomas, is not on one of the registries on one of the walls over there. Does that make you upset that your name isn't on the list of vicars that have preached here? Thomas Cobbenberry, if you are still here, because you enjoyed the job you did and the time you spent here, could you make a noise for us? You need to, if you're going to make a noise, it needs to be quite loud because it's quite windy outside. Could you make a noise for us now, please? Do you see this place as it is now?
Hold on.
Is that you, Thomas? Are you making a noise for us? Could you do it again, please, but really loud?
I could hear talking down there. Can you hear that, Phil?
Mm-hmm.
Who was it who was talking? Could you talk again, please? Jeff and Phil have heard you. That's brilliant.
The talking that Phil and I could hear that was coming from the pews was not picked up on any of our audio. So at this point we decide to take a break, and whilst I'm setting up some equipment to prepare for the next session, Mark sees a figure behind me.
Jeff, behind you! There was someone stood behind you then. What? But here! Someone stood here.
Unfortunately, the figure that Mark saw behind me did not show up on our cameras, so it was lights out once again. I would like to address the monks that have been seen here. Now earlier on, can you say that again, please? I hear a disembodied voice come from behind me. Here is the audio with enhancements. Now earlier on, you'll have to excuse me whilst I'm walking here, because in the floor are family graves, and I'm sorry if I'm walking on you. Can you make a noise? Can you come and join me?
Shit.
Where did that come from?
Right by Mark, I
The
think.
pew behind me. Or the pew actually, it sounded like a pew behind me or a pew I'm sat on and I'm motionless.
Okay, that's good. We use the SB7 spirit box, but receive no voices. Then we fire up the SLS cam and sweep the location, but nothing was detected. So it was time to sleep. We make up our beds in the chancel and get our heads down with our static cams and audio running for the remainder of the night. "50 minutes later, whilst we are asleep, static cam 3 in the north aisle captures a shadow figure moving along the wall in the chancel. It seems to then go into the floor, then it rises up and moves along the wall towards the south aisle. As we are asleep, static cam 4 in the chancel picks up footsteps, and then a loud bang is heard, which wakes up Phil and I. Finally, dawn arrives and our investigation comes to an end. With only a few hours sleep due to the paranormal activity that was going on around us throughout the night, it was time to pack away all of our equipment and make the long journey home.